Maria Palacios. I am speaking on behalf of the Houston Center for Independent Living and the Community of Persons with Disabilities. The Houston Center for Independent Living is a nonprofit advocacy organization run for and by people with disabilities. It is with somber spirits that we approach the tragedy involving the fatal shooting of Brian Clonch on September 22nd. First and foremost, we believe that things should not have escalated to police involvement. The personal group home attendants should have been properly trained and sensitized to the needs and rights of people with disabilities, especially as it relates to a mental disability. Personal care homes have no regulations or oversight to ensure the respect and safety of their residents. Mr. Clonch was not asking for anything illegal when he asked for a soda and a cigarette. He had every right to feel upset when not allowed to choose for himself on such a simple request. The fact that people with disabilities continue to be treated with childlike approach with disregard for the most basic individual rights cannot be made any more evident than this. Why was the group home not equipped with trained staff able to properly diffuse and de-escalate without getting the police involved? Was Mr. Clonch's request for a soda and a cigarette violating any laws? Yet he was treated as a child instead of a grown man. With trained staff on duty, the personal care home would have been able to handle the situation, and chances are the incident would not have escalated as it did. The disability community is well aware of the continued stereotyping of people with disabilities. The childlike approach to our needs is not only insulting and demeaning, but capable of causing a simple request to escalate to anger and rage. What adult would not be upset about being denied access to something that did not violate any laws? Once HPD got to the scene, it should have been obvious that a double amputee man holding a silver pen was no match for two able-bodied men armed with guns and whose purpose is to serve and protect rather than react and fire with a first attempting to defuse the situation through less violent means. The message sent to our disability community by these actions is that people with disabilities are disposable and not worthy of respect. The lack of sensitivity that caused this painful affair to unfold is something the disability community will not take silently. It is our duty to speak up for our rights. America guarantees us that. We are not invisible, and we deserve the right to choose for ourselves and be treated with respect. Our lives are worth living. Our lives are worth protecting. Thank you.
Respectfully to those in the audience, I will have to ask you to refrain from the clapping or the cheering or whatever. That is a rule of council. Chair recognizes Councilmember Noriega.
Ms. Palacios, right here. You and I met at an event. I've been impressed in the past with your eloquence and your defense of the community that you've chosen to advocate for. And I'm not the great orator, and I'm not good at preaching, but sometimes I try to just make sense. Every time we come into one of these situations, it's difficult. First of all, it almost always is about respect. Almost always it's about respect. And respect isn't given or taken with money or with training or with anything else. It's pretty simple, and it takes common sense, and it takes a choice on someone's part to assume that the other person is as important as they are. But in addition to that, there are always factors that enter in. You have police officers that often are uncomfortable, maybe even afraid, forced to make decisions in a split second and not always knowing what the right thing to do is. You have training with the staff, you have training with the law enforcement. And this state has chosen not to fund services or training at the level that it probably needs to be funded at. And all in there somewhere is respect.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I just want to say, I'm sorry. And it doesn't mean that I want to interfere with the investigation that is proceeding. It doesn't mean that everybody was right or wrong or whatever. But I'm always sorry when the issue of respect is neglected. And to all of you that got on a bus, that came on a metro lift, that came in a car, that rolled down the sidewalk, maybe around a telephone pole or in and out of a sidewalk, we appreciate your coming and sharing your feelings and telling us how important you think this is. There are folks in the audience in wheelchairs, there are folks that are visually impaired, there are probably other disabilities. We have friends of our family that are disabled, and common sense and respect will go a long way. And what I'd like to say to all of you is that I'm very sorry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Palacios, I want to thank you too for, right here.
All right.
I want to thank you for coming and for speaking so passionately about this issue. And I too just want to say that I want you to know that you and the community is very respected. We should always be mindful of any challenges that may exist as a result of any public policy. One of the reasons I'm such a staunch advocate for complete streets, for example, is because I think our infrastructure needs to be built for all custodians. Those that may have a disability, or seniors, or children, for everyone. And so, with that said, also similar with any policy that we have or any gaps in training that may exist, want to make sure that we're reaching out to and getting your input as to how we can make these things better and identify any gaps that occur. So that you have my commitment to reach out and work with you on that.
Thank you so much. We really, on behalf of the community of people with disabilities, we appreciate it. And also just quickly, just to remind everybody here that the disabled community is not only the largest minority in the country and the world, but it's also the only minority that everyone will join sooner or later through the aging process. Thank you.
Ma'am, don't go away. Chair recognizes Vice Mayor Pro Tem Bradford.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Palacios, thanks for coming. The bell will probably sound, but you keep on talking and answering my question because I'll yield it on you. It's really important that you explain to this body, and to me particularly, your level of comfort concerning what you expect from the agencies that are investigating this terrible incident. Why do you have a level of comfort in what they're going to do, or why do you not have a level of comfort in the agencies that are investigating this particular incident, please?
Well, first of all, I believe that our city of Houston, wants to do the right thing. You know, so the agencies that are responsible for investigating, for setting the rules, for doing the things that need to happen, I know that they have the best interests at heart of the community in general, but especially when it comes to people with disabilities. Now, what's important to realize is that we are no longer an invisible minority. You know, when we think and talk about disability issues, we have to remember that almost all of us know and love somebody with a disability. And like I said earlier, all of us will eventually join the disability community through the aging process. So we will keep all this in mind and respect one another. We can accomplish so much more.
Thank